next guest needs no introduction. He's one of the most dominant players in NBA history, a 14-time All-NBA, 4-time NBA champion, 3-time Finals MVP, and a member of the Pro Basketball Hall of Fame class of 2016. He's kind of funny, too, just a little bit. Shaquille O'Neal joins the show. Shaq, thank you so much for being with us.
Molly, I just want to say it's a pleasure being on the show with you. Those other two guys I can care less about. Just want to say, Molly, you do a wonderful job, and I love you very much.
Why you throw your hands up like you Alec Baldwin imitating Trump on Saturday Night Live? Why you throw your hands up like that? For what?
Because that's the great Molly. I have to show respect to the great Molly.
Oh,
that's how you show respect to a princess.
Man. See? You need to follow that lead.
He's ridiculous.
Shaq, let me get my question in here before you know these two are going to take over. I won't be able to get a word in.
Can I say one thing first?
Yes.
Can I say one thing first? You guys are my favorite show to watch on TV. I appreciate Max and Stephen A. going at it. Molly, I appreciate you keeping these guys in line. Wonderful show. Good luck to you guys. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
And we appreciate you giving us
You know what?
time.
Because your show is everybody's favorite show on TV, Shaq.
Yes, no question.
My wife doesn't like sports and watches you guys.
Yeah. Pretty entertaining, to say the least. All right, Shaq, need you to settle something for us. So at this point in the season, Stephen A. thinks James Harden deserves the MVP. Max says it's LeBron James. Who do you think deserves the MVP award at this point?
I'm going to have to go with Russell Westbrook. A lot of triple-doubles. He's actually doing it by himself. And believe it or not, Stephen A., he's playing the right way. A couple years ago, you know, everybody was, Russell's a little too selfish. He's moving around too much. But now he's, you know, making great passes, making great plays, leading his team, and doing it by himself. So I'm going to have to go with Russell Westbrook.
Well, what the hell is James Harden doing it with? Have you seen James Harden?
Can I finish my point?
Well, go ahead.
Can I finish my point?
Go ahead, man.
However, James Harden is also doing his thing. Kudos to Mike D'Antoni for finally getting James Harden to play the right way. For, you know, a lot of years, James Harden been putting between his legs, doing too much, but he's playing excellent, fabulous basketball right now. And LeBron James can win the MVP every year, but my pick right now, I have to go with Russell Westbrook.
Shaq, I know before the season started, I figured it'd be Westbrook or Harden, and I liked Westbrook, so I agree with you technically. All I'm saying is, every year, if we want to stop messing around and being technical, LeBron's the MVP. That's the dude you want. You trade him with anyone else, the team he left just got worse, the team he got to just got better. Isn't that the most valuable player?
That is the most valuable player, but I think, matter of fact, Stephen A. was the one that told me this one year, because I remember when I was the most dominant player or whatever, Stephen A. Smith told me, Shaq, you can't win it every year. So, you know, same thing goes with LeBron James. Yes, he's the best player on the planet. Yes, he's the best player in the world. Yes, he could be MVP every year, but he already has 4, so they're probably looking elsewhere.
You know, I want to go to you for a second before we get back to what's going on in the NBA today. We all know how you're held in high regard in Lakers lore, and just a couple of weeks ago, you had your jersey retired in Miami. I watched that ceremony. Sorry I couldn't be there, big boy. What was that moment like for you? I mean, you were only in Miami for a couple of years, but you helped deliver a championship, the first championship to Pat Riley, along with Dwayne Wade, Alonzo Mourning, and the crew. What was that like for you?
Well, first of all, it was very unexpected. I got a text that said, we want to retire your jersey, Pat Riley. I actually thought it was one of the boys, Jerome or Money Mark, playing around. So I was like, stop playing. Then I called Pat. He said, hey, Shaq, we love you. You know, I know we had LeBron and Chris Bosh and the Big Three, and we won other championships, but if it wasn't for you and the tone that you set in Miami, we wouldn't have this culture, so we want to retire your jersey. It was definitely unexpected, but, you know, Miami Heat organization, Pat Riley, Harrison family, they've always been a first-class organization, and it was a great honor to be hung up next to Alonzo Mourning and Tim Hardaway.
Shaq, all things considered in today's game, and the game has changed a lot, of course, all things considered, including off the court, on the court, chemistry, skills, everything, age, however you want to do it, who is the best big man in the game today?
Well, I'm going to have to go with my Kings because we are in playoff contention right now. We are in the 8th spot. So I have to go with DeMarcus Cousins, you know, putting up monster numbers. You know, he's getting better. But I'm going to have to go with DeMarcus Cousins. And then you got Cat, you got Anthony Davis. You know, you got a you got a lot of names, but when it comes to skill and talent, I'll probably have to go with DeMarcus Cousins.
Well, that's an easy one because DeMarcus Cousins, to me, is clearly the best big man in the game. He's the real deal. But how concerned are you, being affiliated with that organization, how concerned are you about his temperament? Because as big time as he is, I mean, just the other day we saw him on the air, getting in a reporter's face about half his size and twice his age,
that's really
which isn't the smartest thing. Do you worry about him from time to time?
He's getting better. He's really getting better. Experience is the best teacher. Nobody really taught me how to handle my temperament. I had to figure it out for myself. So he's starting to figure it out. The Golden One Center is almost like it was back in the Chris Webber days. They're playing with a lot of energy. My message to them is get out of that 8th and 7th spot because, you don't want to be playing Golden State or San Antonio in the first round. But he's getting better. And, playing with the great Phil Jackson, he never messed with anybody's temperament. If you think about how he handled Rodman, how he handled myself, how he handled Kobe, you got to let a person do what they do. But, as far as, his temperament, he's getting much better.
Shaq, when you get into it with another big, a big who's currently playing, and you're critical of them, and they go at you, even though it's your job to critique the league now, do you ever take them aside and have conversations and wonder, are these kids kidding? Like one of the most dominant and greatest players ever, and they're kind of talking back when they're not that good? How do you feel about that?
I think sometimes when they hear it, I think they think that we're coming from a place of hate. But what they need to know and understand is I have G14 classification to break down what I think you're doing wrong. One, because I've done it with the best. I learned from the best. And I try to tell these guys all the time, when I'm critiquing your game, it's not a personal thing. I'm giving you advice on what you got to do to get to that next level. Now, if you don't want to take that advice and get to the next level, fine with me. I can care less. But, a lot of times, when I'm critiquing the youngsters, they think it's hate. And it's the same conversation I had with Stephen A. a long time ago because when Stephen A. and myself first started out, he wrote an article that was fair, but I thought it was unfair. So we had a conversation, and he was saying, big boy, I love your game, but you need to do this, and do that. And ever since Stephen A. was honest with me way back in the days when he was working for Philadelphia, we became really good friends. So that's what I try to do with these youngsters. I'm not hating. I don't have to hate. But I am giving you advice on what you need to do to get your team to that next level and that next level. Sometimes they listen, sometimes they don't. But it don't matter to me because at some point, I will put them on Shaq and the Fool. And that's all that matters to me.
Let me tell you something right now. I got two questions. I got a different question, and I'll get back to that. Bear with me here, Max. But since you brought up Shaq and the Fool, I sat here on this desk, Shaq, a few weeks ago and showed them the Shaq and the Fool when Otto Porter was stuck on the wing for the Washington Wizards last year. I mean, there was nothing funnier than that. Yeah. Even Kenny Smith, even Kenny Smith, basketball modern-day Gandhi. He don't want to say a bad word about everybody. He was cracking up, talking about show it again, show it again. That's how funny it was. Yeah. What's the funniest Shaq and the Fool that you showed? What's the funniest one for you?
This year or
anytime. We in the age of Google. Any year.
Well, I promise I would stay off this guy because he thinks I'm hating on him too, but JaVale McGee is a Shaq and the Fool Hall of Famer. My favorite one this year was when Golden State shot the free throw. He tried to take the ball out after his team made the free throw. But JaVale McGee, I love you. It's all fun and games. And if you ever want Shaq and the Fool, any player, it's all fun and games. I love you.
Always fun and games with Shaq. That was part one of our interview with the big Aristotle. Stick around in the second hour for part two, where Shaq explains what happened to the Warriors and why they may lose again this year. Also coming up, Matt.